I'm doing it. It's recording.
Is this a good enough distance for a book recording?
Next to the garden.
So I'd like to introduce to you today this just recently published Perennial Psychology or the Manual of Oida Therapy. This is the general presentation, meaning it is explaining everything on the basis of common sense, rational thinking, scientific evaluation, comparative study, all procedures which belong to the modern way of thinking. Our Vedic tradition relies more on Shabda Brahma, on divine revealed sound. So what I've tried in the Oida therapy, I tried to bring that what I learned from my spiritual masters as part of divine revealed sound, to bring it into focus using the language and using the discoveries, the different accomplishments modern man has made. In his way of trying to explain the phenomena of life. You know, we have one major problem in this world regarding the phenomena of life, which is the reliance upon a speculative system which we call Darwinistic evolution. And much time has been spent both by Vaishnavas and by Christians and others to defeat the proposal that life in itself just showed up by accident. It didn't have any higher cause or higher conception or higher intelligent direction. It just popped out of nothing, like something curious. And then all of a sudden there was life. And all of a sudden there were many species. And all of a sudden there were human beings. And all of a sudden they became more powerful. And all of a sudden they started inventing different things which threatens the very existence of life on Earth, like nuclear bombs and other things. So, the phenomena of the Darwinistic evolution theory was quite solidly defeated by all the efforts done. So I will not go into that detail because Bhaktivedanta Institute has published many books in this regard. But then, given fact that there is no evolution in the sense of accidental or the chosen system of survival of the fittest as proposed by Darwin, considering that life in itself has a meaning, and there is a direction towards life and the meaning of life, naturally the question arises, when and where and how does divinity, the creator, contacts the many living entities created, or vice versa? When, how can the living entities direct themselves towards a perception of the divine origin? Where is this connection? Where and when this connection comes about? Like you can't see the invisible. You can't hear the unhearable. You can't prove materially what's not material. So, a great question. When this connection between divine and relative takes place? When and where? And when the living entity, us, is receiving this amazing faculty which we call free will, or freedom of thought, freedom of determination, self-determination, ability of self-realization. Where does this come into the play? Where and when a living entity can connect to higher realities which are beyond the reach of the ordinary senses. Tasting, smelling, hearing, seeing, touching. That can be applied in a physical reality. We can touch it, we can see it, we can smell it, we can taste it, we can give certain evaluation of something material. That's why children, when they're not really very intellectual yet, they put everything in the mouth. The only criteria of good or bad is the taste. If it tastes good, yummy, yummy. If it tastes bad, spit it out. This is the first knowledge acquiring system of the human being. It is called, in Sanskrit, anamaya. And it's a natural process because it has to do something with feeding the belly, filling the belly with something. So without filling the belly, the rest will not work. So, here we go. The Oida therapy points at the faculty of consciousness which previously has not been explored by psychology. And that is the simple fact that you can believe something. Believing. Very interesting. Believing. Do you believe that? Yes, I believe it. Another person says, no, I do not believe it. So believing has options. You can believe it or you cannot believe it. There is some freedom in there, in the believing or not believing. There are phenomena which you cannot understand but they are real phenomena, and then you can start investigating about that phenomena. Where does it come from? Where does it go? Why does your hair grow? Why does the moon circle around the earth while the earth is circling around the sun? Why? And how? It took human being astronomers a long time to figure out the whole thing. Kepler and people like that, they were studying the phenomena and speculating about it, or analyzing everything and coming to the conclusion. I mean, just with your eyes, just as a single, simple unit, like you wonder, oh wow, now it's full moon, now it's new moon, oh my God, that must be some phenomena. And now what is this and what is that? I mean, to really come up with the whole idea that the moon is circling around the earth while the earth is circling around the sun. It's a bit too much, no? It's really a bit too much. I mean, if you're talking about gravity, if there's a universal gravity just by itself, well, that all would fall into one corner of the universe, no? And all the planets and everything would be lying there like a pile. But in between of gravity, you have other laws which are not gravity laws. Moon laws, earth laws, sun laws, and so many other laws for so many other phenomena. And you have meteorites. You have the laws of meteorites. Some are others, somewhere they're coming from, they're flying through the sky, and some of them impacting on Earth. That's pretty interesting, no? So, nowadays astronomy is very advanced. They can predict the precision of the eclipses. When will the eclipse happen? I mean, Eckert doesn't know when the next eclipse is going to be. He has not the slightest idea. But the science astronomers, they can say, yes, we have an eclipse in Canada in this and that date. It's going to start exactly at 9:37 minutes when the eclipse is going to start, and it's going to start at 10. It's amazing. They can predict before from which part of the world you can see it, from which part of the world you cannot see it. So, yes, there's quite an information available nowadays about the phenomena of moving bodies. But there's no information about how do they move, who put them into movement, and what are the rules by which they are moving. So, the phenomena of faith is another phenomena which is totally unexplored. It is not even taken into consideration by scientific psychology because they don't know where it comes from. They don't know where life comes from. They don't know where consciousness comes from. They don't know where free will comes from. So much less do they know where the ability to believe in something comes from. sometimes children, they're in the no phase. Everything you tell them, they say no, 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 no. And there's nothing you can do about it. They just see everything that way. It's the no phase. So why does psychology not simply explain that we reject believing anything? That could be one version. We say, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe anything. Don't tell me anything. But we see that human beings do not react that way. Some say no and some say yes. There is a very distinct ability of difference between saying yes or no. Yes, I believe it, or I don't. Like we believe that decorating this altar and praying before this altar has value. We believe that. Another person may not believe it. Another person may even say, oh, what you're doing there is you're worshipping idols. You should not do that. They're called iconoclasts. They are idol breakers. They say, we don't believe in anything visible. For us, the divine is invisible. So if you come up with anything made from matter, they would say, this is treacherous. You're trying to bring divinity into the realm of matter. Just like there's anthropomorphism and apotheosis, which means to bring divinity into the realm of anthro, the human, or to subscribe divinity to some human being. So these attempts are possible within the realm of faith. Within the realm of faith, almost everything is possible. But there's one faculty within the realm of faith, which is also very important, very interesting, and that is called doubt. You can believe something, and you have a right to doubt it. Do you believe this? Maybe, but I have my doubts. Can you explain to me the doubt phenomena? Why do I have a doubt? The doubt is coming from the reasoning faculty. And the faith is coming from the what faculty? It is coming from the inner help faculty, which we call in Sanskrit Shraddha Devi. She is the queen of belief. And doubt is the king of protection to believe the wrong thing. Because the divine female and the divine male, they are working together. They're complementing each other. If there would be no doubt, we would have to believe anything and everything. then there would be no way of criteria of evaluation of any kind. Any dumb thing anybody says, you would say, yes, I believe it. And that would be pretty strange. That would be like gravity pulling all the phenomena of the universe lying in the bottom. Something like that. So, perennial psychology is focusing on that ability to come to a conclusion by evaluating the benefits humanity individually and collectively derive from a certain presentation conception which connects with higher realities and thus explains the relative phenomena in a particular way. Now, healthy, because it's a therapy, it's a healing process. So the Oida therapy is really proposing that a certain conclusion, a certain attitude for the mindset, for the involvement with life according to a certain belief is very healthy. Healthy means it's progressive, it's producing positive impulses, nothing negative. And on the other side, there's a clear understanding on observation when negative elements distract us from the real beneficial conclusions. Since belief can go either way, there is, of course, the chance to believe the wrong things. Criminals also have faith. They have faith that their criminal activities will lead them to a positive result. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. And thus, they are influenced. Even to deny their own common sense. Sometimes the mental influence is as such that we deny our own inner voice, we deny our great wisdom we have received from others, we just deny it. So no, not interested. I believe it's good to do the wrong thing. So there's also belief in that. Therefore, Oida therapy is a therapy to be taken with caution. Because there's perverted faith, distorted faith, partial faith. There is an amazing ability of difficulties we have to face in order to come up to the right conclusions. And this partial faith means partial information. Distorted faith means that people will give you information but with a very tilt of their selfish interpretation. Perverted faith is when our own faith is succumbed by our selfish, sensual desires. So in one way or another, our consciousness has to deal with a lot of manipulations, with a lot of different energies floating around in life. Now you can see that the Pyramidal psychology is really, really entering into a very, very crucial sphere of human self-determination and self-evaluation and self-esteem, finding the dignity of one's existence within one's mental conclusion. And that's why human beings are very frail. If they're going into the world of mental assessment of their own greatness without recognizing the greatness of their origin and their creator, they enter into some kind of madness called egocentrism. It has other names too, but egocentrism is a kind of a pretty precise description. Megalomaniac, we can also thinking of one's own greatness as some independent thing from the overall phenomena. Like, ooh, it's all about me. And of course, there's many other situations of mentally diseased conclusions which arise from certain face distortions. There's plenty of example of that. Some of them is, I am saved, and others are not saved. And I should impose my conclusions on others, that they may also be saved. And if they do not submit to my conclusions, then I will retaliate against them. I don't say I will kill them, but it has gone that far. Mm-hmm. What a type of a mental diseased condition. What a kind of a perversion, which is very self-destructive, because anybody who is inflicting pain upon others, he's inflicting pain on his own destiny by the law of action and reaction. So the original psychological self-determination is only possible by having a very deep understanding of what free will can produce for you and what the abuse of free will can also produce for you. In other words, it's really a phenomena which brings into play all the different options of life. And you know, options, the varieties of life, they are no doubt the entry to perfection and the entry to self-destruction, at least temporarily, because we cannot destroy our own soul. That is beyond us. But we can destroy this physical body. We can destroy our sanity. We can destroy so many things. So, to enter into the world, the realm of faith, is thus something which requires guidance. And this guidance is supposed to be developed through the training of Oida therapists. Because even though they are very spiritual people, they will not give any overemphasis to any final spiritual conclusion which will arise within the realm of faith of an individual eventually. Or he may already bring that with him, but principles of Oida therapy are those which will protect you from the distortions and perversions and the partial informations which thus create difficulties for you. Like if you don't have a complete understanding of how great spirituality really is. If you have no idea of what the original laws are, what the original powers are, the original seeds are, the original life and all this, if you don't know anything about that, well, then it's very difficult for you to assess certain phenomena. Therefore, the Oida therapy in general is very keen to make clear that spirituality is an open, broad sphere where your spirituality, the universal spirituality, the relationship between you and the universal spirituality, where all that is an open area left for definition in a later moment. But what is being accepted and clearly understood, that the reflection of faith must bring into this world a light of blessing and a light of proper conduct. Because without proper conduct, there's not even society. That's why every society, doesn't matter what country you go to, has a book of laws. The laws which are supposed to define proper conduct. And then there's judges and jails and all kinds of other institutions which are supposed to teach people what the importance is of the rules of proper conduct. Now, before any book was written, was there proper conduct? Was there an understanding, an inner understanding that proper conduct is actually required for forming society? And who was to decide? This is where we come into the original impulses of faith, which are actually the guidance coming from the divine sphere for the humans to come up with conclusions of individual responsibility, of not killing other, not harming other, etc. Love the Lord like nobody else and love your neighbor like thyself. So in this way, these type of understanding of the divine from different traditional backgrounds are really that which is confirmed by the inner spirituality of each and every other living entity, which is supported by faith. Only by faith can such an inner spirituality arise. Only by faith a proper conduct and a respect for a proper conduct as a collective understanding can be arrived at. In other words, we are going into the depth of the development of the human consciousness. We are passing by all the speculations, we are passing by all the universal concoctions or considerations when and where the human being appeared to be aware, and then Darwinistic conception, I read in a book when I was a child that the monkey, he was sitting on the tree and he was eating a fruit when all of a sudden the first rays of the sunrise came over the mountain. And the monkey looked at the sunrise, chewing on his fruit. And he said, gee, that sun is something. I think this is divine. Yeah, divine. And that's when he became the first Homo sapiens. Before that thought, he was just a monk, He would not have thought anything about the sun rays. He would have just chewed the fruit thoughtlessly. So this was the conception of our scientific background of when Homo sapiens manifested on this planet. But in Oida therapy, we pass by all these concoctions and we just go deepest and deepest into the human psyche, which is omnipresent. Because whenever it was there by the divine will and had the same criteria and the same need we have today. Whether you had today or you're living 50,000 years back or 500,000 years back or 5 billion years back, it's always the same question. Who am I? Why am I here? What I have to accomplish? What behavior will be favorable for me? And what behavior will not be acceptable to others? Are there any codes of honor or behavior? This is perennial psychology. That is the power of it. Because we are going to the root. And we analyzing the symptoms of the root. And how much and how important this is. Now, in the Oida therapy, we are presenting a conception which is called the healing circle. This is the healing circle. The healing circle is something which you can find within your heart. It is there. It is the criteria center. It is where you have to reason with yourself and with others. What are you doing and why you're doing? The healing circle has many, many different aspects to it. Because in the healing circle you have to deal with the different understandings of the divine. You have to deal with the different historical manifestations and the influences on the healing circle. You have to the healing circle is being utilized in all religious traditions. You will always hear certain things you're recommended to do, and certain things, if you do them, they will influence you in a certain way, and certain things which will distract you from that. So it is, in that sense, we had made the comparative study of different religions, just to give you a hint how the healing circle has been dealt with by the different mystical traditions. It's not something speculative. It's always there, even though they may not have used the term healing circle. Healing circle is the individual self-assessment. Let me see here. Oh yeah, here it is more clear. The map of the Oida therapy healing process is here. It's always the healing circle is in the center. The map of the Oida therapy healing process, position of the family in the Oida therapy healing circle, outline of symptoms in love and relationships in relationship to the healing circle, the Oida therapy healing circle and its expression in education. How do you educate people to understand this? The outline of the states of faith with respect in the Oida therapy healing circle. You actually have to spend some time if you really want to understand how the Oida therapy works. The outline of the Oida therapy healing circle as it is, and the concept. there are different, these are the basis of human consciousness down here. The healing circle is the one which leads you to higher consciousness. It leads you to higher responsibility. The lower levels, they're just accommodating your selfish intentions, being considerate with others, and just choose your own benefit, no matter what. Being grateful, pure, and compassionate in your intentions. And this way, this is like here, the turmoil of our mundane consciousness on different degrees. But the healing circle is considering that there is a higher thing and there's help coming from the higher, and by that we can harmonize with the different realms here with our different intentions. So the healing circle is very interesting. We have an understanding, coming close to and distancing oneself from the area of the healing circle. This is like really, really basic common sense. I mean, you don't have to be a scholar to understand that. That means feelings of love, unhealthy, feeling of hatred. Healthy, organic, unhealthy, chemically intoxicated. Healthy, balanced, unhealthy, excessive. Healthy, impartial, unhealthy, fanatical. Healthy, food prepared with love and gratitude. Unhealthy, junk food. You can keep reading those. I'll be back in a sec.
Following one's own ideals, weak about his values. So following one's own ideals is healthy. Unhealthy would be weak about his values. Being responsible is healthy. Indifferent is unhealthy. Looks for the common good is healthy. Self-centered, unhealthy. Clean, healthy. Dirty, unhealthy. Honest, healthy. Unhealthy, cheater, corrupt. Healthy, interest in others. Disdainful, careful, healthy. Careless, unhealthy. Generous, healthy. Careless, unhealthy. Pure, healthy. Impure, unhealthy. Tender, affectionate, healthy. Aggressive, unhealthy. Grateful, healthy. Ungrateful, unhealthy. Compassionate, healthy. Inconsiderate, unhealthy. Modest, healthy. Flamboyant, unhealthy. Peaceful, healthy. Let's do this. I'll read the healthy ones first.
You just read like one and another.
Yeah, I'm gonna read by columns better, because then I'm gonna just keep going back and forth. I'm gonna just read the healthy ones first. So it was careful, generous, pure, tender, affectionate, grateful, compassionate, modest, peaceful, satisfied, sees God in all. So seeing God in all is healthy. That's good.
What is that?
Seeing God in all is healthy. We have like a picture similar to that with Mahaprabhu, like when he's in the forest. I don't know if you guys seen it. You guys probably have. No? Well, he's in the forest and he sees like a tiger, the tree, the monkey, the grass, and everything. You just see Paramadvaiti in that. Yeah. Loves everyone, is healthy. Generous, listens to others, serves others, creative, has a good sense of humor, smiling, playful with children, sensitive with animals, prudent, conserves energy, preserves nature, courteous, shares, always willing to help. So all those things are very healthy because you're pretty much associating yourself with others, you know, and trying to do good, positive stuff. So the unhealthy ones would be impure, aggressive, ungrateful, inconsiderate, flamboyant, violent, unsatisfied, does not see God in anything, loves himself, stingy, does not listen to anyone, wants to be served, bored and rigid, dry and hostile, sad, avoids children, cruel to animals, imprudent, wastes energy, exploits nature, rude, selfish, and avoids helping others. That's unhealthy. Okay. You want to give a comment until Gurudev comes back?
Huh?
You want to give a comment until Gurudev comes back?
Maybe the third.
On this aspect, what he was saying, so it sounds very simplistic, you know?
Yeah, like he was saying it.
Yeah, it's like, it's obvious, you know, but when we look at it, we have to look at ourselves very deeply, you know, and be really brutally honest with ourselves and say, you know, where do we fall there, you know, because it's not such a simple thing. It sounds simple, right? Well, obviously, this is healthy, this is unhealthy, but when we really analyze ourselves carefully, we have to be really honest and sincere in trying to improve ourselves.
Yeah.
Jai Sri Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Sorry for that. So, the Oida therapy has the capacity of questioning anything and everything human beings do. On what basis? On the basis of restricting free will and freedom versus favoring self-development, self-determination, and liberty to grow. You can simply compare that to a father and a mother wanted to bring up the child. Their criteria of progress is by the degree of the child coming up to its proper conclusions which are beneficial for the child and society on its own. Simply to get the child submissive to some restrictions will not do if the child doesn't know why. So reasoning is used in human life. Understand why. Then you decide. Then you be fine. So this is very simple, no? You don't need to, again, for Oida therapy is not required to have a intellectually twisted academical brain. You have to simply come to the clear point of acceptance that we have rights, the right of freedom. And the right of freedom is the right to believe. So we know that because we have in our governments, we have this one code which they have accepted universally, which is called the Freedom of Religion Code. But it is an undefined code. Oida therapy has to define that code of what the freedom of religion really means. How is it being understood, and how will it be beneficial for humanity to execute the freedom of religion? Because, of course, we have laws. If somebody says the freedom of religion of my religion is that I want to put glyphosate all over the planet so that only my seeds can grow, and we say, sorry, your freedom of religion is not accepted. Or any type of foolish thing. Now we come to the point of freedom. Let's analyze the point of freedom in a very time frame of our present day. Let's not go too far in the past, because then it will be, what is the freedom of a Chinese? Very, very limited. You know, he is under the political notion that the communist system, his Chinese version, is the only thing which has any real value, and that whoever is going officially against that conception, he will be jailed in China. So you're a socialist, country capitalistic situation, and you're supposed to psychologically adjust to that in a healthy frame of mind. So there's no freedom whatsoever. The next system, now let's move to America. That in America you are supposed to believe in a capitalistic free market society where everything goes if money finances it. That's why we have to consume Chinese products, even though they are produced in a concentration camp in China with people who are not free, but we are free to use their products and drive everybody else off the market who may have fair trade practices. I mean, I'm giving some very physical. You have the freedom to choose whether you want to participate in the system with submission or to be stripped of all the privileges because you're a rebel and you're not submissive. Persecution is not necessary in larger terms because by publicity we have the country pretty much under control. So we don't have even a guerrilla group in the US. There's some people that say that foreign terrorists, but you don't have a guerrilla group in the US. That's pretty interesting, no? Then, but for those who are insiders, they know there's no guerrilla groups really anywhere, because those guerrilla groups which do exist, they're financed by the rich people to create disorder so that they can proceed with their different rules, weapon imports, and. So there's not really. So the freedom question today is is very highly restricted to submission to a current government, which is usually a kind of authoritarian, fascistoidic type of government. Now, you can also apply that in the realm of thought. Materialism is very, very, it wants to restrict people from not thinking that there could be a spiritual conclusion. It's a very, very sectarian materialism going on, tilting towards atheism, basically, which is nothing but another belief. Oh, I believe there's no God. It's just another belief. It has no rhyme, no reason, really. But the fascistoidic applications are also found in fundamentalistic, fanatical, institutionalized religious structures. And that is another one where there's absolutely no freedom granted to the individuals. On the contrary, says, submit or die. And if you don't die by the sword of my hand, then you'll rot in hell, the way the flames are waiting for you. So, freedom, no recognition of freedom, and no healthy development of the inner self-determination of the individual. In other words, we can see that the common world, capitalism, communism, fundamentalism, consumerism, extremely diminishes the freedom in the individual, thus making them sick. That's one of the ways a person becomes sick. Sick means he is in a dysfunctional system and he has to try to adjust himself to a dysfunctional system. And AKA, this is studied. What does it do to others when you have a family member who's drug addicted? Well, not only the drug addicted man is sick, but the whole family is sick. They get secondary effects by this being and having to live with a dysfunctional person in a dysfunctional family, and which you call abnormal. And what is normality here? Normality is sane face for the proper conduct, for the well behavior, for considering the well-being of everybody involved. So capitalism and that just simply doesn't work together, because capitalism in that sense is based on I take advantage of your weakness, I take advantage of your foolishness, I take advantage of your fear that I can do with you I can do with you whatever I see fit. And later, when you're just about to die, I throw you a few crumbs so that you can survive. That's called US aid. Throwing a few crumbs to the devastated, exploited people in the world. Of course, Europe has the same thing, GTZ it's called. German Technology Help. So, I just say that so you don't get the idea I'm an anti-American or something like that. No, it's just the whole thing. Like in Switzerland, in the period of 1 year, gave like $2 billion of help to certain countries, and in the same period of that 1 year, $20 billion were deposited from those very countries in the Swiss bank accounts. No? So you figure it out, no? Throwing some crumbs for improving the image. So our world is challenged by not having freedom. Our human beings are increasingly diseased by not being able to exercise happy self-determination, happy self-evaluation, and happy path towards self-realization. Thus, they also don't have even self-esteem, and thus they see their own position so frail and so questionable that they sometimes don't think life is nice whatsoever. And that's something what people conclude when they commit suicide. And there's plenty of people committing suicide in the world. It is a phenomenon which is definitely to be dealt with. And there's other suicide. Watching television is suicide. Taking drugs is suicide. It's slow suicide, but it's suicide. You can declare somebody brain dead if his brain is not producing anything positive for himself and for the world. Well, then he's brain dead. His brain is working, but it's not working to the faculty of its needs. So television is making people brain dead. You come home, turn on the television, and you just stare. You stare at violence and sex and this and that until you fall asleep. Then you get up next morning, rush out to the work, push some junk food into your mouth, which you have seen on television, come back home and turn back that TV. This is you're made brain deaf. And sports, football, baseball, basketball, this is another way of making people brain deaf. You just go there and go, and have a few cheerleaders, beautiful girls. They go, ching, 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 ching. Everybody says, oh, we have such a pretty society, don't we? So, Oida therapy is a therapy of the whole world. It is the understanding that there are inner and superior influences which can be brought into life when you are approaching it with the techniques of Oida therapy. Therefore, the people who have done Oida therapy courses, they have been extremely relieved. They have been extremely grateful that there is such a thing that you can actually exercise your freedom. Because everybody else tells you not to exercise your freedom, not to question the system, not to question the status quo, not to question the fashion, not to question science is a sacred cow. You mean all those guys who are getting paid $20,000 a month and you're sitting in the laboratories and they're getting all the money from the government? You want to question them? You want to say that they may be hoax? You must be out of your mind. So the question is not a very popular thing in this world, but it is the only way to exercise your inner freedom and your inner health. In other words, either you submit to this understanding and becoming a glorious freedom defender in your own, or you succumb to disease, to prosark, to psychopharmaca, to the establishment and its wonderful photo models and film stars and musical heroes, and here and there you get a National Geographic report with somebody who climbed the mountain and shows off, I went there because I have a Rolex. And then you say, oh yeah, what's life without a Rolex? And this is National Geographic, that's the high-end quality, you know. You have to see who advertises in Forbes. And who advertises in Mickey Mouse. Oida therapy is a through system of evaluation, health and benefits of the human beings. And it's very popular with those who participate. It may not be so popular with the systems. Even though we just recently had an encounter in Sofia, Bulgaria, where Oida therapy was invited to make a 20-minute presentation of what they had to offer, and it ended up into another 40 minutes of question and answers and total acceptance by the classical psychologists, because what I just explained to you this morning, these very simple facts, they're not addressed in psychology class. They are not addressed by Adler, they are not addressed by Jung. Jung, the best of it. But they are addressed by Viktor Frankl. But Viktor Frankl has not made it into the general acceptance area of psychology. So this is just a little introduction, an advertisement. I personally recommend to you that each and every one of your programs should immediately order 100 of these books from India, where they were printed, and start reading themselves and have them passed out to people. This is the first book. The second book is almost finished. It's called Belief to Live a Better Life. That is the second book. Then the third book is the Enamored of La enamorada de la fe. The enamored of the faith. Then this is the third book. Then there's the fourth book coming, which of course in English not available yet. The fourth book is Oida therapy, group therapies and applications. And there is a lot of different clean outs. The clean out systems, methods are being proposed for Oida therapy. Then the sixth book, which is in the making, is already finished in Spanish. Also, it's called the 40 Questions Oida Therapy Asks to Any System of Behavior or Belief. That they should answer those 40 questions to evaluate what impact they are having. Then the next book is the clinical applications of the Oida therapy, which is not produced fully yet. Some people are working on it. Then there's the next book, which is group therapies of Oida therapy, that group applications. That's also already finished. So you have a little archive, plus you have the Oida magazines, the Oida therapy magazines, where there's many reports of practical experiences when Oida therapy was presented in old people home, in jails, and what kind of feedback and outcome has come from there. So these articles you can read on the platform. Of course, Oida therapy has many different other proposals, like Oida therapy meditations, visual meditations, and healing sounds. So it is very much the work of a very large group of devotees, psychologists, over the last 7-8 years or more. Actually more. When did the mitotherapy arise? You remember, Kalki? What year mitotherapy first appeared?
2009?
No, I think earlier. 2009. No, earlier. Yeah. You're speculating. And here, Radha Brahma, she's doing one more feature of the Oida therapy, which is the Oida therapy World Peace Constellation. And that is also, that is another feature, another application of the Oida therapy. Now, I'm pretty much done with it. I'm still part of it and trying to push it, but I'm pretty much done. What I have to give, I already gave, or what was given through me in the sense of Bhaktivedanta Institute. Here's the beginning. Here's the Darwinism is defeated now. Oida therapy defeats the idea that there's no divine intervention in our existence. It completely defeats that. We can point out to so many divine interventions in the realm of consciousness and that it is out of a question. So, but now Oida therapy has to go into society by lectures, experience, and challenging different paradigms, wrong paradigms, sacred cows of misunderstanding of human life. And we hope that, God willing, Oida therapy will leave a deep mark upon the consciousness of this world. Plus, after this, all I say is the general Oida therapy. I'm talking about 8 books. Then comes the next book, which is called Oida Veda therapy. Then comes the school of Oida arts. Then comes the schools for Oida face education. So basically, once you have accomplished, once you have clearly established Oida therapy as a scientific method of improving the quality of human life, then the doors will be open to mystical tradition who want to feed into that with their respective gifts and traditions. And they will, of course, be welcome, especially the Vedic one, because I am representing that myself. So, therefore, the orange book, which some of you have seen, is actually like the 10th book, which is the book which says that how the Vedas guide a person positively through Oida therapy with Vedic wisdom for the improvement of everything. Of course, there's also yoga, and there are interesting features, but the soul health, the spiritual health, it should be put above the emotional health, above the physical health. Because if you don't have a clarity of your soul situation, then even though if you have a nice emotional partner, or even though if you have a good economy, or even though if you are having a healthy sportsman's body, your inside will still be crumbled. You will still be another Robin Williams who had everything the world can offer, but no desire to live, and so he killed himself. No. To give just one example. Thank you very much for listening. The rest is personal studies or seminars. Of course, there can be said thousands and more things. That's why there are so many books and so many takes. But even this first book gives you the complete understanding what it's all about. So I recommend you make your orders today. 100 books, and put them in the hands of people they can understand and they may be interested. If you, my dear friends, are not doing it, putting these books in the people's hand, it will not go out. This is not in the bookstores. I have not been able to pull that one off, to put things like this in the mainstream bookstores. Maybe this will be done, but I don't know. There are some attempts, but this is another thing. On the other side, it helps me to strengthen a base of volunteers who are actually interested and who are feeling some personal commitment with Oida therapy, some personal conviction that there's something very valuable for us. And there's more ideas coming up. But now I would invite some commentaries from your side, especially from Kalki, from Prema. People who have worked with it and who can give their feedback with their words. Because myself, being like kind of the custodian of this delivery, of course have a slighted view as I stand behind it. But Siddhanta also, who has worked on the first book, the Oida Veda book, he has helped me editing that into English. So I like to hear some commentaries. We can have at least 10 minutes each. You can start, Kalki.
Well, the book by itself is a work of many, many years, many devotees as well. And it has a lot of dedication, hard work, and most important, love. Because basically the Oida therapy is an opening. It's an opening for people to understand how grace is working in the world without saying the word grace. So the beauty of this work of perennial psychology is that uses the tools that everybody will accept it. You know, it's a very like common ground for people, and with no compromise of being categorized as religious person or fanatics or putting labels that nowadays is very common in society. We can present a very elaborated and at the same time sophisticated and simple, approach to the internal dealings that we have. And not only that, is recognizing them. And once we recognize those internal, things that we have to address, it also encourages to heal it and provide us tools for the healing process. So, and the healing process, you will see when you read the book and when you study and when you share with the devotees that have been using Oida therapy, the healing process is totally Vedic. It's totally Vedic. You receive knowledge. As Prabhupada said in the books, many times, you receive knowledge, then you apply it and you get a result. That's scientific. That's why Prabhupada said the process of Krishna consciousness is scientific. So Gurudeva once said many years ago that Oida therapy is like is making a new bottle for the same wine that we have. Something like that, So this is a new presentation. This is a new, external presentation. But inside, it's a glorification to Srila Devi, to Srimati Radharani, because she's the provider of faith, to Bhakti Devi. And it also, I can say also, Gurudev, that it has, ingredients of Raganuga Bhakti in one way, because even though it focuses on personal development and you have to do this, you have to do that, it counts 100% on grace, on how Srimati Radhika, she's the personality of Srila, faith will work in your heart. And Bhakti Devi, Srimati Radhika, is totally independent. She is not considering if you are, high Brahmin or high class, Hindu or, rich person or born in a special condition. But Oida therapy provides that element of generosity. It's very simple. It's very simple to understand it once you are into the language, talking with the devotees that are familiar with this. And especially for me, one of the best things to being part of this group of devotees working together is that in the process of working together, it also helped me to recognize things that I have to address in my personal life. And I apply the tools that Gurudeva says in the book, I apply those things. Those, of course, in our case, it will be Oida Veda because we are focusing more into the Vedic path. So, but I use it and I start my own healing process. So it's a very beautiful way to approach people. To don't be labeled as a Hare Krishna, because nowadays we have to be honest. At least in this society in North America, the Hare Krishnas got a bad reputation, just plain and simple, And we can introduce this as a Vedic, philosophy. Vedic, the Oida Veda part can be purely said as a Vedic method of healing, and that will be totally accepted by everybody, a Vedic method of healing. You can go to any yoga studio, you can go to any festival, and you say, this is inspired from the Vedas, this is a healing method. And everybody will accept it, rather than say, no, this is the Hare Krishna way to save you. Which is totally the opposite, no? And we want to break that, idea that we have, as Gurudeva said also before, that we have the exclusivity of the something higher that nobody else have. Because if we keep that mentality, that what I have is higher than everybody have, we are falling into the trap of being sectarians. And Mahaprabhu's movement is all embracing. He broke so many rules because he wanted to save all of us. And Oida therapy provides a very powerful tool for all of us to use it. And nowadays also, it's very famous to talk about healing, natural healing, holistic healing. Everybody is into that. Because there is an opening right now in society for that type of practices. So, and if we qualify ourselves, as Oida therapists or Oida healers or Oida facilitators, that will be very powerful also as a way to maintain you financially. So always we have to, before practicing something, before teaching something, we have to apply it to ourselves. If that little thing that we apply ourselves and that we see that it is working, then we can share it. And when we share something that actually touches our heart, very powerful. Because it's not theory, it comes from the heart. When you share something that heals your heart, and you share that, it's very powerful. Nobody can argue to you. No, that method doesn't work. No, it works. How do you know that? Because it worked in me. It healed me. So very powerful. So we have many, 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 many tools with perennial psychology, many tools with Oida therapy. And I don't want to, extend so much. But in fact, it's a very beautiful way to, once you read it, and start knowing, you try to apply little by little the things, even in your diet, as Arjuna was reading the things, eating healthy, how important it is, So many of us, and at least myself, I was eating wrong, This food there, this junk food, some other place like that. And then I realized, no, I have to also address what I eat, what I talk, what my words are, what type of words I'm sharing to people, telling to people. So once you address all those little details, a whole transformation is happening. And the people around you will feel it. So it's a very beautiful chance to, at least in nowadays society, we can share the message of Oida therapy. A lot of people will be very interested, very, very, very much interested. And it's like being an undercover, devotee, like the spies, the spies, and they use a different dress or change their identity just to to accomplish something. It's a kind of tool like that, But we don't want to lose our identity as Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Rather, we want to acknowledge that this is also part of a beautiful, timeless tradition, Okay, so that's what I wanted to share to all of you. I don't know if it's clear. If it's not clear, sorry.
It's clear. So, a broad view about...
First you come in front and can't talk in the middle.
So a broad view about Oida therapy is that it is definitely a restatement of concepts. So in that sense, it is challenging our minds and challenging the way we're thinking about many things around us. And that in itself is a challenge not only for the people that are, I believe, somehow people working in Oida therapy, and not only the people working, but you that are also part of the team in different aspects. You are like chaskis as well, or we are chaskis in the sense that we are we are working with words. So we're messengers of words, and in reality, that's what we're doing. We're transforming the way we see things through the reconceptualization of of things around us. So that issue about the way we see things is what I think Oida therapy is trying to do. And having in mind that broad view, then we have the specificities, which are how Oida therapy expands through different tools that that mission, somehow a mission of expanding a transcendental view combined with a code that is a code of the rational way of thinking. That's at least the way I see that. So a rational way of thinking that embeds with a more transcendental way of speaking about the world, about life. And in that sense, the words we're using, again, like the awareness we're having in terms of what are we doing with words and with our life, or with our example towards other people, would be very important. So Oida therapy definitely starts working first on ourselves. Like in my case, when I started working with reading Oida therapy, it definitely was like a shock, a little bit of shock, you know. So I started moving my own frame of thinking, coming from very, let's say, rational background. So it started breaking all those theories, if you want to call that, in another word, frames of seeing the world. And then it started breaking and breaking more things, and then moving me towards a different location, let's say, different position. And I think it happens to all of us that approach Oida therapy or get into Oida therapy, and also to people that come, let's say, from outside, let's say, an outside. But what I mean by that is that people that do not, people that are not very familiar with yoga or with therapies or with healing, and that healing process that is happening through Oida therapy is a healing process that has to do also with a subtle way of doing it, because we're using tools that are very objective, but also we're working with that I was mentioning, you know, with being messengers of the world to different aspects, to different manifestations of words. So we have even arts, you know, arts, visuality, because framing the mind in a different way is also allowing us to visualize things in a different way. So in that sense, Oida therapy is very big. So if you go and read the many books that are there and the many books that are coming, you will see that it's very big. It has lots of branches, trends. It reaches everybody in their style. So it's like we are all there without knowing it, you know. So the person that had that view, you know, Gurudeva, had definitely all of us in the world in his mind, and that's very marvelous, you know, because it's only possible to a mind that is such a marvelous mind, you know, because we cannot see, I mean, myself cannot see the whole perspective yet, because it's so big, but I can see just little things here and there. I definitely know it's very big. I definitely know that it's a big challenge, in the sense that we should portray the inner feeling and strength and potential that the creator Gurudev had and has had with this. but we also, I know that we also have all the power, all the strength, all the in a poetic term, all the inspiration, to exactly that, to create a different poetics of life, and that's very, again, challenging, but I think very possible. It's very possible with the help of everybody to go through life in a different way, opening a little bit, but also combining all our strengths and our potentialities. So Oida therapy in a more specific perspective is like a path to follow, considering all the people's perspectives, everybody's perspective, but kind of making a conjunction of all what we've thought in a very concrete way, because it's very concrete also in the therapy. If you go through even the process of healing, you will see how systematic it can be. It has a very ordered way of following the process, and that's also very detail oriented, and so it is like following the mind. What do we do with our mind? What do we do with our even our feelings? How we handle them and how we put them together along with our rationality to create healing, to create a transformation.
Mm.
So a lot to come. I project that a lot to come for Oida therapy, a lot to do, and already many things happening a lot along the lines along Oida therapy, and so I'm sure that we all have been touched by the Oida therapy, and we are still being touched by that, because, as I said, we are all part of it without knowing it. Like we are there. You are mentioned there, your names are there, written in the lines somehow, because we are part of that whole vision. So the encouragement for all of you to be part of that and be with us, extending the message, looking at the way we see words, we use concepts, as Gurudev was mentioning today, the way scientific discourse or discourses around us in the world have kind of handled and hijacked terms is an issue, and that's what we're doing somehow, breaking this, and of course with the strength of Gurudev, all that is possible. So thank you for listening to me.
Hare Krishna.
Siddhanta, some commentary?
Well, I thank you so much for asking me to say something. I really, since the first book, I haven't really been involved, because I think much of the work has been done in Spanish, but I'm very much looking forward to reading this English edition that just came out. But I think Kalki kind of echoed a lot of the things I was thinking that I would say, is that really this is a miraculous gift that's coming from our Guru Maharaj. So, as members of the Vrinda family, I think we're very much attracted to this Vrinda mission because of the love that Guru Maharaj is extending to so many people, so many souls everywhere in the world. And without being so contained in our own movement, we have an opportunity to reach out to so many different people, because whoever is in a temple, you have an opportunity to reach people in so many ways. And many people come, and it's maybe not the best to say, well, just chant the Maha Mantra and eat prasadam and dance in ecstasy. So this is the message of Mahaprabhu. But we have to, in today's modern age, we have to look in a deeper way how we can reach people. And when we talk about the love of our Guru Maharaj, really the love, the way I see is the love is nurturing the spiritual growth of other people. This is an extension of love. And this Oida therapy is giving us so many tools how we can do that. And I know Kalki mentioned many things, and Prema here is, you can see just the love and the compassion radiating from her face when she's speaking about it. So you can see the really like the power of this Oida in people like her. You know, she's like really like living it. You can see it coming out of her. So that's what I wanted to mention, was I think this is a chance for all of us as representatives of our Guru Maharaj to take this to heart, this process of healing, to practice it ourselves, as Kalki said. And then once we begin that healing process, which we all need, and I need, you know, more than anyone, of course, but once we begin this healing process, then we can feel empowered to reach out to others with this same thing. And I think it's really an obligation, not just a desire, but I think we should all see it as an obligation as representatives of Vrinda family and our Guru Maharaj, to really take this to heart and to learn it and to study it and to heal ourselves, and then to take it to everyone. And I think this is really can be something we can do every day of our lives, to be conscious of this opportunity every day of our lives. And I think we will be enriched with this and also enrich others. So just thank you for giving me a chance to share a few words. Oida therapy ki jai. Maharaj ki jai.
Okay, breakfast. Jai. Om Vishnupada Brahmansa Parivraya Gacharya Suttara Sasashima Shilavata Rokaran Swami Vada Tattva Ki
Jai. Haribol.